Welcome to the first ever Touch My Clock podcast. Eliot, what are we doing here? Take 64.
Jesus Christ, because you're so close to me.
Welcome to the first ever Touch My Clock podcast. So, Eliot, why are we here?
Well, altogether, we've had a meme page for the last 2 years called Touch My Clock, previously Hodinky Dinky, for the real ones who know. And there's so many things we can do about memes that we wanted to talk about, so that's why we created this podcast.
And most of the podcasts out there are all talking about the unattainable watches, the Richard Mille, the Lange & Son, the Vacheron Constantin, that are out of most of people's price range. So we wanted to ensure that horology was fun and approachable and for all. So we'll be talking about a lot of entry-level medium watches that are fun to collect.
Absolutely. And I think there's another part. I think we found out that a lot of podcasts that are talking about watches, that are looking into horology, they tend to be from people that have an agenda. So they're either selling you the watches or they want you to read their articles. We want to make sure that we kind of remove this layer and we're able to talk freely about the pieces that we're really interested in, which could range from a vintage piece that we bought for £25 on eBay or even the grails we wish to have one day.
So let's rock.
Let's rock and roll.
Let's do it.
Eliot, what's on your wrist? What are you wearing today?
So, I'm wearing Seiko 6117 Japanese for celebrating the Tokyo Olympics. So, here we go. As you can see, if I bring it up more or less. This is also the one with the Aerodal, if for the ones who really know. So I thought it was a great piece, got it on eBay, works really well, and I'm happy with that. What are you wearing, James?
Very cool. So I have the Christopher Ward C60 Sapphire. I love Christopher Ward. That lovely story of three men in a boat, May 2004. Mike, France, Peter Ellis, Christopher Ward, because the most English name was Christopher Ward. So they create watches that are designed in the UK, mostly Swiss movements, but they make them truly affordable. I think they're no more than 3 times their actual movement themselves. And this one supports the Blue Marine Foundation that looks after and protects our seas. And what I love about it, this is the tide strap. So this is made from recycled fishing nets and recycled plastic out of the sea. Beautiful, thin sapphire that you can see in the light that really, really reflects the light and looks like waves with a 38 power reserve and really is a really great watch. A Solita SW200 Swiss movement. A real price. Max?
Yeah, I don't think I've got as many specifications as you do today to kind of hand out. I'm wearing the Derrick. All I know about the Derrick is that it's called Derrick and it's old. There's not much about it. It's got a quite classic tank case. It's got a dome crystal that goes all around it. There is very little information online that you can find about this kind of watch, but this is kind of what I find very fun about watchmaking is you can find pieces that have relatively no history, find pieces with a lot of history, and for me this one is a total mystery. So when I wear it, I know that I won't ever see anyone else with it, and if I do one day, I think it's going to be an amazing thing. And I've accompanied it on a really nice green strap because I think it brings it up a little bit, and it's also preparing me for leaving summertime, which is the topic of today's conversation. This watch I could definitely see during the autumn season, but because we're finishing summer, what are the watches that you guys were kind of looking at buying this summer or interested about, or even just imagining having in your collection one day?
So I just love this watch. This is, I think, one of my favourite summer watches. And another nod to Christopher Ward because they were the ones that were highlighting this. And they play a real strong part in the British watchmaking support and tradition, which I think is lovely. Great little case from Gakota. And this wonderful little chronograph, it's quartz. It's a Miyota quartz movement, but it's got water resistance to 100 metres. And it's just so pretty. And I must say, having it on my wrist, I've been had so many compliments. And one of the things that we do is we swap watches as we're wearing them during the day. And Max, you wore it for a while as we were going out. And people were coming up to you and going, wow, what a lovely watch. So I think it's done so well, really pretty. And the nice thing about this watch is, it's generally around just under £400, but I think they've got a sale at the moment, which is like £280. So that is absolutely the bargain for this year. And then for my second watch for the summer, it's just what I love these people. They're Marlowe, obviously Marlowe hint from where they were on the Thames. This is their dart. But actually, they're in Perth in Scotland, and you just love their packaging, just love the way that they just present everything with all of their books and manuals. And this is such a pretty watch. I just adore this watch for the summer. It's the Dart, a 24 jewel, 40-hour reserve. It has got a 100-meter water resistance and exhibition back case. I just love this blue, beautiful, colourful strap, and that really sort of kind of a wash side on there, which I think is, brushed, which I think is just stunning, and a really nice watch. Sapphire crystal, and a wonderful automatic movement, and you can just see the blue coming up just underneath on there on that sand blasted side. They're my two favourite summer watches.
Very good. So there's some aspects of these watches I really like, I think, and there's some aspects I really dislike. And it's funny because to me, the Marlowe, I absolutely love it until you turn it. There's something about it, about the raw exposed Miyota movement. I believe it is a Miyota movement, that I think they could have done something a bit more interesting with. I think they could have covered it up. Other than that, I love this piece. I think this piece is really cool. I love the little boat on it, a little bit of illustration that you rarely see in watches. And yeah, I could totally see myself stealing this from your collection one day. That's for sure. Eliot, what do you think about the Gakota? I feel like this is one that you would have opinions on.
Gakota's very nice. I like the brand. It's mainly for straps that they do. So we're not sponsored, but I bought a couple of the straps from them. It's a really nice piece, mega quartz, if I remember correctly. If not, I might forget everything about these watches. No, it's not. But they're a very nice piece. Looks vintage. It's a nice little thing. But, once you start collecting a bit more and you get more chronographs, these are the ones that you'll
sell.
Most probably
Go back on eBay.
They go back on eBay.
But for the summer...
But for the summer, it's a nice car.
I think this is the epitome of the summer watch, in that you buy it and after the summer you're like, I'm okay.
I need my money back.
I don't really need it. And it's not to fault the design. I think the design is like it's a cushion case design. It's neo vintage. The green is really nice on it. I just think it's one of these watches that are, in my opinion, compared to this one where I find there's a unique design and there's something interesting, this one is a little bit more temporal. However, you're right. When I was wearing this watch, we were wearing it around a market 2 weeks ago. I got 2 or 3 people in a row telling me, "Oh, this is a really nice watch," and it annoyed me because I wasn't wearing one of my watches. It was the rare moment where I switched out with yours. But that's
Who has taste?
Yeah. But no, other than that, I think it's similar to, for me, Gakota is similar to Long Island watches. I don't know if you see what I mean in that.
Yeah,
in that they're not yet, or I haven't yet seen them do original designs. They can get into the manufacturing part of the watches. They can create an identity. I'm not in love with there isn't a story, or there isn't an intrigue, and yeah.
So Eliot, what's your favourite wristwatch for the summer?
I mean, usually summer, you try to make it fun. You try to buy NATOs. You try to get some divers in. But for me, usually, it always ends up wearing just a Casio. So I've got the Casio GA2100, and I end up wearing that basically most of the summer. Because you go rock climbing, you go in the sea, you go kayaking, and actually you don't want to scratch your watch, you don't want to break it, so you just end up by wearing a Casio. I have a lot of stuff, mostly vintage, so none of it really goes in the water. So Casio is really the easy way to have a very cheap and good way of getting a summer watch.
Which one?
The GA2100.
Aha.
The Casio, that's to say.
Do you have it with you?
No, it's back in the other country.
And you have, you of course love the one from Nico Leonard, right?
Not really. Don't get me started on this painted stuff.
No, but what's your opinion? We'll put it up on the screen. What's your problem with the painted G-Shocks?
My problem is I like the idea. It adds a bit of uniqueness, but it's truly way too much money for what they're asking. And recently they just came out, I think, with the PRX or something where you can buy the PRX quartz version for £300, and they're asking £1,000 for someone who just like painted a globe on it or something. So I don't really like it that much. I like that it's modded, but I think they're taking a bit of the mickey with the price point.
So roll on summer 2024.
Yeah, I think I've got 1 or 2 picks. I'll try to get it up on the screen. There's one that actually I ended up wearing not too long ago that I really like. I'll be interested to know what you guys think about it. So yeah, I don't know if you guys have ever seen this piece, but I wore it recently actually at a Red Bar event in London, and so this is the Fairer Biarritz.
Nice.
And all right, let's keep the handling of the thing
private information leaked.
There you go. So if you want to know bank details, this is a mess. I hate this.
Can't use a phone.
This is not
You didn't
good.
listen.
All right, let's keep it like this, and I can zoom through here. This is the Fairer Biarritz, as I was saying. I love this piece. I really love this piece. It's 38.5 millimeters, 200 meters. Water resistance. Has got a white ceramic bezel, and it comes just below £1,000. Now I can't totally remember the movement. I think it's a Solita. I'll pop it up on the screen with the details. But no, I really love this piece, and the reason I love this piece is I've got an affinity for watches that have a white coating on them. Mm-hmm. To me, they're just fantastic summer pieces.
Compare another British manufacturer with Swiss movements, but they just have drop-dead gorgeous dials.
Yeah, unreal. It's honestly, at the Red Bar event, I think some of the favourite watches that I saw during the day just came from Fairer. There's something about it where I never understood where the cost premium came from their pieces, if I'm totally honest, but now I kind of get it. Like, just the thickness on those hands is just so nice. And what's really nice about this watch is that I tried it on the bracelet, which I think is lovely, and I've also had a chance to try it on the white rubber strap, and it's just killer. And there's something as well, I think, about the summer watch. To me, a summer watch is a watch that you don't have to interchange. As in, you could wear it for an entire summer and not need to take it off. And I'd go even further than that. If you have a partner, and in my case I do, that likes to take your watches, it's nice to have a watch that both appreciate, and in terms of the size and the color, it's just fantastic. I haven't tried it on the NATO, but even on the NATO, I just think it was killer. What do you guys think?
I mean, you've got to love it. You've got to love these little independent brands and what they're doing, and especially with the uniqueness of these pieces. A lot of these sub-brands will just take a classic NH35, just slap an homage of a Submariner or something very simple. But this, you can clearly see there's been some innovation, and it's unique. I mean, not many brands put this much effort in really making something really this really nice. And at the price point that they sell it at, I mean, you got colored dates. The hands are amazing. You've never seen these before anywhere, so it's just truly great.
You like them then?
And the interchangeable bracelets with all the different colours that match, it's just great.
Yeah, it's good.
I adore Fairer. I've got some in my collection, of course. They are a wonderful British brand, and they're just attention to detail in terms of design. An array of watches on the table, just look like a rainbow of colour. A lot of fun, but a lot of horological elements in there at all. You know, true GMTs, hacking seconds. You know, they've really put a lot of thought in terms of the capability of their watches, as well as the aesthetics.
Yeah, and if I can, these two there's a similar idea behind both of them, right? But this is where you realize where the money kind of goes in, I think. And it's just on, if you look at the applied markers, right, there's three-dimensionality to it, right? Someone had to hand go. When they're producing and manufacturing this stuff, you know, they're producing it for, I don't know, 1,000, 2,000 watches maybe, but it has to be made custom. And I think that's where the price goes in. So yeah, I'm totally seeing this as another one that I could consider on a list if I get a bonus one day. That's more than a John Lewis voucher. No comment on that. But yeah. So, Eliot, do you have a second watch? What's your second summer watch?
Well, this was obviously the first one I talked about. The
So,
we're not very good with computers.
No, we do realise that this set is slightly less advanced than perhaps about effing time. But we will get there at some point. Yeah. We're hoping.
So this was the first watch I was talking about, the J2100. I buy this, and also it comes in many color variants, so you can get kind of whatever you want. But the thing I really do is, honestly, I go on AliExpress, and you can buy a different case and a different bracelet for them. And I've got it in green, in transparent to make it the jellyfish, and you can all get it for about £10 overall. So that's something I recommend. So
and now this is a really good choice.
So this is love
this. This is the sustainable plastic Oris, which is fabulous.
So yeah, this is my second summer pick. I don't have it, unfortunately. So I'm kind of talking. I don't.
It's on the wish list.
It's on the wish list,
list.
and I would like to have it if I find it on eBay for quite cheap, because I'm a scavenger for buying stuff for cheaper. But the Oris upcycle is really amazing. They made it this summer. First of all, the price points that they have for all the accessories are just amazing. They're great divers. They're great summer watches. You can pretty much put anything on it. All bracelets work. And what I really love of this is the uniqueness of every dial.
Yep.
So if
No two are the same.
No two are the same. If no one knows what these do, is the whole dial is recycled plastic, which we're all in the age of sustainability and stuff, but I'm into it because it looks nice, to be honest. And so every dial is really different. So you go to the shop and you see it, and if you don't like it, you find another. But I think it's super unique. Yeah. For sure, it's a great talking point to anyone during the summer. You can kind of wear it on the bracelet if you're going for dinner, or you can swap it out for a rubber bracelet as well that they also supply. And yeah, it's a great overall summer.
And it makes it seem like you're saving the environment as you're flying your plane all across Europe.
Burning 2 tons an hour. But anyway, we don't need to talk about that.
No. The one thing that I'm not cutting this is part of it. But the one thing I would say about this watch that I love in the hunting of it, but it also really pisses me off, is when you go to an AD to go check them out. I've always had this thing where I've never liked the dials they had. I've always had one where the ones that you find online are the ones that are the prettiest, the ones that look like this, and then the ones that they really have are the ones that don't really work out and they look a little bit weird. And stuff, what I have a big problem with is when the dial, especially, is when there's a consistency in the color. Like here, there's a blue consistency. It works well. My problem is that sometimes I see a big splodge of one color and then another below.
It's a bit of a gamble.
It's a bit
of a gamble.
I wouldn't buy one online without having it in the hand.
Well, having seen it, yeah, for sure.
Other watches I could trust before, but this one is a bit tricky. But I love it. I think Oris a killer. Yeah.
Max, what about you? Some watches? Oh, you did just show it.
I did, but I have a second one.
Well, let's see the second one.
I want to ask you guys this question. Right. What is the watch brand that produces plastic watches every year to a lot of acclaim? And they've recently just made the so-and-so summer watch, or the watch of the year, with a collaboration with another brand. Swatch, right? So I always find that there's a weird thing where we think that plastic watches or quartz watches are dominated by Swatch. And I think there's so much more out there that's a lot more interesting. Now, I'd like to show you this brand. This brand is a little bit strange because it was founded by 2 people from Taiwan. And it almost seems like they're non-operational at the moment. However, I just think that if you can still buy them online, and weirdly enough, you can buy them from Saudi Arabia, but that's about it. There's all the prices
it's not easy to
in
find
AED
them. I
are
think I know
very
which one
strange.
you're talking about.
And I'm talking, of course, about
Whips out his pocket.
this one.
No.
So this is a top, right? Now, why is this the best summer watch? Because now it doesn't have the best water rating, right? This is free ATM, so I wouldn't really go testing it. But it's, I think, so cool. I think you could go around the world, you could turn the bezel, and by turning the bezel, you know where you are. And the idea, right, is if you're going on holiday and if you have the luxury to, you travel, and you know exactly what time you are in every single country. It's a plastic watch, so you're not scared of breaking it. You could buy this for £40-50 if you find them.
It's a very easy to use GMT. I have to say that's pretty impressive to turn that around.
You only get that.
And I believe they also make them for men.
But it's pretty unique. And the only really other brand that that have the arrow hand that changes with the bezel is the IWC Spitfire, which you then got to spend over 10 grand. So this for 50 quid.
Yeah, what is it that makes it non-masculine? Is the pink? I think the pink, if anything, I think wearing pink makes it.
It's the rainbow colours, isn't it?
It's a good, fun, colourful watch,
awesome.
but the practicality of that GMT movement is superb.
It's unreal, and as you could see, there's no crown on this, so I might be able to do it here. But the crown you actually find within the watch itself. So if you pop out the back, you'll be able to change the crown with this thing here, which again is one of these things you don't think about, but you bang your wrist sometimes, and your crown gets in the way, and I just love it. And what I want to highlight...
Only shame they couldn't on a little bit more on the depth rating, because 3 atoms was just about enough to
Not
wash
that much.
wash your hands.
No, but again, this simple idea, I think there's a lot. This was for the 50th anniversary of Singapore. I believe this was in 2015. And again, just you could do this for a jubilee, you could do this for whatever. And if you're paying £50 for a watch, right, it's not that big of a luxury expense. And again, I just love the colours. This one is, as you said, it's a bit weird.
Clown, you know.
It's a bit... It's,
Clown cards.
it's well, thanks about that. But
Bobo the Clown.
Why don't you get a black one, you know, like these normal colours?
because...
Even yours is not even there.
Because-
That's how
Because he
weird
studied it himself.
Because-
It's
it's
part of his
true, yeah.
DNA.
It's after,
All right. I didn't. To be fair, this was a gift that I paid for, but it was gifted.
You bought it yourself.
I bought it myself, but technically
chose
as a
that
gift.
colour.
But I just love the fact that you could be like, you know what? I want to have, and I could be wrong about this, but I believe this one is Spain. I want the Spanish one, or I want the,
It's true, they do
the
many
German
countries,
one, and
they
they do it by country. I
Russian ones
just
as well.
I just like this one because this one had no affiliation to any country, and I think is one that's telling the time. It just as in telling times of different countries. It is. I didn't need it.
Pretty good.
And of course, I didn't even know about that. There's a moon phase on it.
Why not? You know?
Well, why not? Why understand if it's night or day when you're switching the country?
Yeah.
It could also be useful. You don't really think about it too often. And of course, Eliot, you might be able to explain this better, but what's DST? That's daylight saving time.
So as you can see, it goes backwards once. Basically, it goes back 1 hour. So you know if you're on daylight savings time, you've got to flick back a bit.
Done. What I think I won.
It's not complicated.
I think if it was,
Well, you vote. You tell us what you think. You tell us who's got the best summer watches. Remember, click like, click subscribe, and keep watching it.
yes. Have a good one.